Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Live from the Chromebook Cave. Today is 10/21/2016, October 21st of 2016. It's about 8:45 a.m. for this release, and we got a couple of things to discuss with you today. This is episode number 10 after about a 4-week hiatus. I do apologize for being gone from the screen that long, but some family things took precedence. But nonetheless, we're back with episode 10. We'll be right back with you here in just a moment. All right, and as we said, this is episode number 10 for week number 10 here in the Chromebook Cave at Dempsey Middle School. Shout out goes to Mrs. Massero for our suggestion for today's tech tip, and we'll get to that here shortly, referring to vacation responders within Gmail and how you can utilize those to get a message out automatically to your students or your parents or anybody else that happens to email you that you happen to be out for an extended period. So we'll get to that here in a minute. I just wanted to toss a couple of tech news things at you. I don't know if you've been watching the news lately, but Google just released a new cellular phone called the Google Pixel. Looks to be a pretty good option, and actually, me being an iPhone user, I'm actually considering making the switch to Android with this onset of the Google Pixel. It looks to be a pretty good phone. The only downside to it for me is the screen size. I'd have to lose my 7-inch iPhone 6 Plus here and move down to a little 5.5-inch screen. But nonetheless, it looks to be a pretty good option. Right now, it's the only phone to feature the newest version of Android operating system called Nougat, and or Nougat if you're from the European area. But nonetheless, it's going to be a good option, I think, out there for everyone who's looking for something new, cutting edge. It offers quite a bit of features, too, including the Google Assistant, which is much more than just Siri. It's much more than just Google Now if you happen to use an Android phone currently. But it does look to be pretty feature-rich, and the big plus to it was something that Google put out there. They said they're actually going to handle updates much like Apple is currently, which means they're going to push those without having to wait on the carriers to approve those. Previously, what happened was the carriers had to approve the release of that software before they would let that go out to their customers. But Google has decided to handle all that themselves, which I think is a plus on the security end. You don't have to worry about a delay. You don't have to worry about bloatware coming onto your phone from Verizon and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, so anyways, let's get right to our tech tip for the day. Keep this short, sweet, and to the point. I'm going to minimize myself down here into the corner. So Mrs. Massero emailed me earlier this week and asked, hey, I'm going to be out for a while for certain reasons, and I'd like to be able to have some sort of an autoresponder set up that allows my parents to know I'll get back with them as soon as I can, or anybody else who happens to respond, but letting them know that I'm not going to be able to get to my email for a week or two or a couple of days or whatever the case may be. I will say this has good usage when it comes to breaks, like Thanksgiving break, or more importantly, Christmas break, which happens to be the longer one. And you could also use it over the summer if you wanted to. You still have access to your email while doing this, but it at least sends an automatic reply to those people that email you and says, hey, I'm out of the office currently, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And you can customize and tailor this however you want. So there's going to be a couple of things we're going to walk through today. First one that we're going to do is, so when we get logged into Gmail, you'll see I'm in my K-12 instance here. And this is what the students use to report problems to me with their Chromebooks and whatnot. But nonetheless, when you get to your email, up here in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click on the little gear icon. And it's going to give you some selection options. All right? And we're going to select settings. So we're going to roll right down there and click on settings, and it's going to bring up our main settings page. You'll notice all the tabs up here at the top: general, labels, inbox, accounts, filters, blocked access, blah, 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 all those. We'll someday in the Tech Tip Friday here get to some of these other tabs, most importantly the Labs version. We'll talk about that at some point. But today we're going to scroll down the general one here all the way down towards the bottom. And you'll notice it's got a couple of options that you can look at turning on if you want to, like desktop notifications. That's kind of nice. You'll get a little a little notification up here in the upper right hand corner, or wherever you have it set to pop up at, that you have a new email. Kind of a benefit. If you don't get a lot of email, that's nice to have that it kind of flashes up there on the screen and says, hey, you've got a new message from so-and-so. For myself, it's not quite as beneficial because I get a lot of spam mail from vendors and quite a few other places. So nonetheless, you can turn that on through desktop notifications right there. A couple of other things that are in there: keyboard shortcuts, button labels, blah, 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 all that stuff. Let's make a stop right here on the signature area. So in this little signature area is where you can update what comes at the bottom of your emails. Normally we list our name, our position, the employer that we have, and then you can include phone numbers and a whole bunch of other stuff. I know there's some regulations that we have with the district as far as what you can and can't put in there, but I have been noticing that several of you still have in your signature the notice that, hey, my email address changed. You probably could go in and take that out if you wanted to at this point. You know, we've been with Google for several years now, and that email address has not changed, at least within the last 3 years. You could go ahead and take that out. And I will also mention to you that there is no need for you to place the copyright generic text that's in there. That is done on the back end for us. We have that set to go on every email account that we have here. It talks about how certain things could be student-sensitive data, and if it's not intended for you, that you're to delete it, blah, 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 all that stuff. You don't need to put that in there. So if you currently have that in your signature, we did previously ask you to place that there, but with the recent changes, probably within the last 3 years, 4 years, Google has allowed us to put that in on the back end so that it happens for everyone. So you could take that out of there without a problem. So nonetheless, you can make those changes right there. You can insert images if you want. Like I said, I would not get too off the wall with stuff. Keep things basic, you know, name, position, building, and relevant phone numbers. Don't know that you need to list your email address. Obviously, they're going to have that when they get your email, so there's no need for you to put that in there. But nonetheless, you could put a link to your Canvas course, to your DBC, whatever you want to do, and go from there. So that's your signature area. Now we're going to scroll down a little bit farther and get to today's tech tip. So all the way down at the bottom, there's this little thing called Vacation Responder. You'll notice I have mine set to off. But during the holidays, you can turn that on. And you can set this up weeks in advance. If you know you're going to be gone for a day or two or whatever, and it's in a row, you can come in here and turn your vacation responder on, and you can set the first day to be whatever day you need it to be. So, for instance, let's say I know I'm going to be out from the October 24th, and we're going to be out until a certain date. Now, you don't have to declare when that date is. You can turn that off on your own. There'll be a bar that pops up at the top here. I'm going to set this to the 20th, and you'll see I'm going to save changes. Blah, blah is my little response, and vacation will be my subject. So nonetheless, here we go. I'm going to hit the save changes, and you're going to notice that a little bar pops up right up here. It says vacation, end now, or you can change the settings. So I'm going to hit end now for right now. That would be what you do if you don't specify an ending date to your vacation responder. And down here at the bottom then, so you can also then, like I said, turn on a last day in there, but you're going to wind up putting your, so once you've designated an ending date then for that, it will automatically turn that responder off. So we've got it set to start on the 21st, which is today, and I'm going to turn mine off on the 31st of October. So when you set your actual text for the response, I mean, you can put whatever you want to in there and go as detailed as you want. You do not need to put your signature there. It will automatically show up just like before we discussed. And then you can choose also to only send a response to people in your contact list, or only send a response to people in Delaware City schools. I would not recommend using those because that way this is going to hit everybody. But you can turn that to the point where, I don't want vendors to receive my auto response and know I'm out of the office, but I do want my contacts to see it. Or I do want people from Delaware City Schools to know that I'm out, but nobody else. So that's totally your call, either one of those. But after that's done, you hit that Save Changes button. And again, if it was set to start that day, your little yellow bar appears up at the top. And you can make changes to those vacation settings. But you can completely interact with Gmail. You can send replies and all that stuff without affecting those vacation settings while that vacation responder is on. So if you happen to get a chance to get access to your email, you can do replies and so on and so forth from there. But in a nutshell, that's your vacation responder and how to use it. Hope it was beneficial today. Again, this has been Mr. Rulin on the 21st of October, and with live from the Chromebook Cave right here in Dempsey Middle School. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at DCSCBCave. That's at DCSCBCave, and send us any of your tips that you'd like to see happen, and you get a shout out just like Mrs. Massaro did. So I appreciate her sending us that request, and was glad that I could help out with a little small screencast to show you how to do it. Hey, it's been great being with you this morning. Have a great day, guys.